Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now actually, before we get into this video at all, I just installed a new AC in my place and it's a little bit louder, so let me know if you guys are hearing any white noise in the background and I'll see what I could do moving forward. But for the topic that we're here to talk about, of course, Nancy Pelosi's most recent trip to Taiwan. Democrats are making very bold statements on Twitter, calling Nancy Pelosi a hero for democracy. Oh, how historic for the Speaker of the House to make a move supporting democracy by heading to Taiwan. But I think probably what most people are asking themselves with this most recent Nancy Pelosi trip is why? Why now? And what's the point? What's the point of sending incoherent, half the time drunk, incompetent Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan during such an unstable time? I mean, first sending Kamala Harris to Guatemala, then sending Kamala Harris to Ukraine. We know what happened in those two instances. And now Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. What's the point and what good can come? I can't think of a single positive thing, but apparently neither can the New York Times. Let me show you guys what's going on here. Let's talk about this whole Nancy Pelosi situation. But what I really want to talk about in the end here is China.
China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China.
We got some stuff to get into, folks, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so Nancy Pelosi arrives in Taiwan despite strong warnings from China. She was told to stay away. Even multiple Chinese spokespeople, or spokespeople for the PRC, claimed that if Nancy Pelosi entered Taiwanese airspace, that they would, quote, shoot her plane down. But nonetheless, Nancy Pelosi had to go to Taiwan for democracy, or something like that. But like I said, I think most people are just confused, and even the New York Times doesn't exactly get it.
Nothing good will come of it. Taiwan will not be more secure, more prosperous as a result of this purely symbolic visit, and a lot of bad things could happen.
China is not backing down, releasing missile strike videos ahead of Pelosi's expected visit today. A Chinese media personality also warning the speaker in a tweet saying, quote, let her go to Taiwan. Wish herself not be defined by history as a sinner who starts a spiral of escalation.
The New York Times wrote, why Pelosi's visit to Taiwan is utterly reckless. Nothing good will come of it, claiming that the trip was purely symbolic. But to be completely honest here, considering this is Nancy Pelosi, I think a lot of people are thinking something completely different. You know, the United States just passed a semiconductor bill, right as Nancy Pelosi's husband bought 25,000 shares of Nvidia. He's since sold them. I believe he sold them at a loss, but still, who knows whether that was due to political pressure or what else. And now all of a sudden, as they're passing their CHIPS Act, I think it just hit Joe Biden's desk and he signed it into law. Nancy Pelosi makes a trip to Taiwan, which I believe is the world's biggest semiconductor manufacturer, or one of the biggest, definitely top 3. Certainly not a coincidence. No, of course not. A lot of people making the observation that Nancy Pelosi's not going to Taiwan for the preservation of world democracy, but rather for her own business interest. But really, speculation aside, the point is, I don't think anyone needed this, and certainly the Taiwanese didn't need this. Here's the former Taiwanese ambassador to New Zealand lashing out at Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan.
那你裴洛西你什么意思？那请问一下你来干嘛？支持台湾人民？支持台湾人民吃土啊？支持台湾人民怎么准备打仗啊？你们这些美国人来到台湾来，天天不是叫我们当兵，就是男女服兵役，就是买武器，然后要我们打城市巷战。你管太多了吧？你来支持还是来拱火的啊？你裴洛西来干嘛？两岸已经够紧张了。你来支持台湾，不需要你支持，你是提油救火，还没火了，你提油来怎么样？来点火。
Worried that she's pouring fuel on the flames and possibly provoking war. Now Taiwan sees cyber attack and Chinese warplanes as Pelosi lands in the country. The People's Republic of China also responding by banning over 100 food products from Taiwan. But Nancy Pelosi claims Taiwan visit is an unequivocal statement that America stands with Taiwan. Well, if that's the case, then why is it that the American government, represented by Mr. John Kirby, just said this?
Repeatedly said that we oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We have said that we do not support Taiwan independence, and we have said that we expect cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means. We have communicated this directly.
We do not support Taiwan independence. Which one is it? Or probably the better question is, what is the point of what Nancy Pelosi is doing? It's certainly at no benefit to the Taiwanese people, Taiwanese business, and certainly I see no benefit to global stability or the American people, so what's the point? A self-serving Democrat trying to cement her legacy as a politician? No, of course it couldn't be that. Nancy Pelosi, who seems to be chief strategist of the Democrat movement, especially during election season, trying to generate some good press, or really any press at all, surrounding the Democrat Party or the current Democrat administration right ahead of the midterms? No, of course not, couldn't be that. Obviously, it's some sort of self-serving political stunt that serves absolutely no one and will accomplish absolutely nothing. But I think that, for the most part, for most of you, is of course fairly obvious. I don't think really much else needs to be said. You get it. But the one thing that we absolutely have to discuss is just how much of a failure American-Chinese relations have been over the past 22 years. The number sounds pretty specific, 22 years, why not 20? Why not 18? Well, because what we are witnessing right now is more proof as to just how much of a disaster it was in the year 2000 to accept China into the World Trade Organization. Allowing a communist dictatorship to enter the World Trade Organization, or enter world trade and the world economy in general, has been an utter disaster. We've enriched a country to the tune of trillions of dollars, but not just any country, a country that seeks to destroy us, a country that laughs in your face, a country that infiltrates your universities, your government, lobbyist groups, to plant seeds of destruction and seeds of chaos into your government, economy, and culture. A country that when a politician, and not just any politician, the third in line to the presidency in succession, the Speaker of the House, makes a trip to Taiwan, they threaten to shoot down her plane. That is the country that Bill Clinton tried to normalize relations with in trade and allow into the World Trade Organization. What an absolute disaster. You look at Detroit and other cities in town in the Rust Belt, the economic devastation and the loss of manufacturing jobs that we've seen over the last 2 decades, and you question, well, what happened here? Why doesn't America produce anymore? Why doesn't America do anything? China. Bill Clinton, the year 2000. That's the answer. And now we're in this position where we have all these feckless politicians, not just in the United States, but across the Western world, bowing down to China, doing their bidding, and selling out the interest of the American people to a country that is growing with a stated mission to overtake and destroy you. Sounds like an absolutely genius plan to me. Our ancestors went to war to stop communism, and modern day politicians are ensuring and fighting to keep the current status quo, which enriches these communist dictators and communist leaders to enrich themselves by billions upon billions. What could possibly go wrong? China is currently on the path of totally seizing control of Southeast Asia. A country like Vietnam doesn't stand a chance with the incredible might of the Chinese Communist Party on their northern border. First, the fall of Saigon and the loss to the Viet Cong, and then the enabling of the Chinese Communist regime really just solidifies my belief that the Western world in general, all of the West, is led by a bunch of corrupt incompetence, and this most recent situation with Nancy Pelosi highlights it more than anything else. This is why Donald Trump was so popular. I mean, just think of how much of a disaster ceding all of this manufacturing power and economic power to the PRC has been over the last 20 years. There is a common belief that you hear all over the place in Western countries that we can't manufacture things anymore, that we just can't do it. It's just not possible. Well, it's not possible because that's what your politicians have made you believe. You know, just imagine, what if all the money that we sent over to China buying their goods, what if that money stayed in the American economy and circulated here? Maybe, just maybe, there would be more jobs and more money circulating in the American economy and in the Western economy. People would maybe have the extra income or the ability to purchase American-made products, or products made from America's greatest allies, actual reciprocal trade deals, good deals, not one-sided deals, good paying wages and more money staying within this system rather than being shipped abroad. But your government keeps selling you out, and it's marking the death of the American entrepreneurial spirit. What happens to a country's economy when a country stops making things? Nothing good, I'll tell you that one. And what happens to a country when it's being siphoned of its wealth? Democrats not only enabling communist dictatorships, creating American dependence on these foreign trade adversaries that are built off the backs of slave labor and child labor. American dependence, an absolutely disgusting phenomenon, rather than American independence, while simultaneously doing the same thing at the southern border with the Mexican cartels, selling death and destruction to those same communities that have been ravaged by the loss of manufacturing jobs, the massive fentanyl crisis that we're currently seeing, and more siphoning of billions upon billions of American dollars going south across the border, straight yet again into the pockets of a corrupt government and criminal organizations. Washington doesn't represent you. Washington has sold your soul. And while Democrats are hailing Nancy Pelosi as a hero, that is the one thing that is becoming more clear than ever in my mind. A country that is threatening to shoot out of the air an American Air Force plane carrying a top American official. That is the country that the US government has enabled for the past 2 decades and some change. Meanwhile, all we do is tiptoe around all their sensitive issues, like editing out a Taiwanese flag off Tom Cruise's coat for the most recent movie release in the series of Top Gun Maverick. Oh, let's not offend the PRC. We host their leaders in the White House. We open our universities for them. We welcome them with open arms to buy all the farmland they want and buy all the real estate they want, buy whatever businesses they want, let them operate TikTok in the American market, and what do you get in return? They threaten violence, and frankly, if you ask me, a terrorist attack on the third most powerful American politician, the Speaker of the House. Absolutely disgraceful. And regular people just don't seem to care. Equally as disgraceful. That's what I got for you guys though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to. I'm going to get back to work. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.